Hey everyone, hey and welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. This is your host Tom Quee here. Thank you so much for joining me. Please can you follow the show at Battle Rap Resume, get us battlerapresume@gmail.com. If you enjoy the content, if you want to give back in some way, patreon.com/Battle Rap Resume is a great way to do it. You can donate to the show, you can get access to episodes weeks, months before they come out. You can catch up with me on there as well. You can sort of see what I'm working on in a bit more of an intimate detail. iTunes as well, if you want to help support us, please leave us a review on iTunes, please comment, please share, please tell a friend. Maybe they might be interested in the Battle Rap podcast. There's been quite a growth of late thanks to Bagnall and Ark and General Drama. So hello to all those guys for joining us. And I want to continue that really. So yeah, please share, please follow, all that good stuff. And yeah, it's a bit of a different one today. I got an email from a fan of the show, wanted to talk in more general terms about something that I'm always interested in myself, the relationship between spoken word poetry and battle rap. I myself am kind of a distillation of those two disciplines, which I'm sure we'll get into in a bit. But yeah, Tim, how's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm well, and I in my head mentally I have this map where I'm ticking off different countries that I've had people on, on the show, and I've never had someone from the Netherlands. So particularly, it's an honor.
Oh, nice! I'm the first one. I didn't even.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, you are. I mean, there's a few battlers in the country, isn't there? There's a few.
In Holland, there's one main league, and then there's another one which it throws events off and on. There's two leagues. It's not too big.
Yeah, but I mean, the beauty of the web is that we can sort of all coexist. So I suppose that's a benefit. And battling, before we get into poetry in general. And
I'm sorry, you dropped out there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Battling, where does it start for you as a fan?
Me as a fan, I remember the first battle I watched ever. I remember it very clearly. It was a Dutch battle, obviously, and I found that so interesting that I just started by rewatching every single battle in Holland, and then I jumped to Don't Flop, watched that, and now I'm getting into I'm watching King of the Dot and getting into URL as well.
All right, man. Yeah, that is logical steps. And I mean, we're talking about spoken word. But where did this kind of come from? Because you're doing a bit of a project, aren't you?
Yeah. So my project is like you described it very well, actually, in the intro. I'm just an article about its poetry and battle rap, and just to show people how much they're alike in some ways, and how much battle rap is actually an art form. Because I wrote this article on the website, and it was a review of the new trailer for the Bodied movie.
Right.
And it totally trashed it.
Right.
It didn't take it seriously at all. It was it said things such as how is this a film about the battle scene in Toronto? Knows about that? Does it even exist? And at the time, King of the Dot is housed there, so it's pretty big still. And he just didn't do any research. He just didn't think it was important. So I was like, yo, just take it seriously, man. Come on. So that's why I'm doing this, basically.
Yeah, it's exciting, actually. I mean, at the time of us recording this, Bodied hasn't come out yet. It premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival. It made like the Midnight Madness selection, like above like massive films. So it's not just a kind of a document of intrigue. I think it's actually a quality product. So very excited to watch that. Very excited to get into that. And it's funny what you say actually about battle rap and spoken word. Like I myself, I got into battle rap through spoken word, specifically, I guess, in a certain sense, through Harry Baker. I remember seeing him in Liverpool perform, and I was into hip-hop. I'd always been into page poetry and, Norman McCaig and Larkin and Byron and stuff like that. But, obviously, battle rap is that missing link, that hybrid between these two worlds. And I remember seeing him perform, and it just, it really kicked something off in my head creatively, and I've never been the same since. I think Harry Baker, he is that perfect hybrid, isn't he?
Yeah. So I'm not too familiar with his poems, but I watched a few of his battles, and I knew that he had this TED talk with the pole dancers, who can't say no, I believe, and I feel like he's a perfect example of how someone who is a poetry guy first, right?
Yeah.
So he's the perfect example of how those worlds, like the two different worlds, are very, very similar, and you can make name in both of them.
Yeah, you can, and it's, you know, he's using his own name. He's Harry Baker. You know, there's Mark Grist. They're not using the kind of emblem of a moniker. They're just going by who they are in that world, and it's, you know, it can be successful. Like, Harry's one of the most lauded battlers out there. He battled Clips, which still hasn't came out, unfortunately. But, you know, there's some internal strife that may resolve itself soon. But, you know, he uses the spoken word apparatus to real, you know, killer effect in actually just attacking his opponents.
Yeah, indeed. He's a very funny guy, and it's just how he uses language. It's very similar to how spoken word, poetry, slam sort of stuff uses words as well. It's the only difference is the objective. I feel like you're rapping at someone, and while you're spoken wording, for lack of a better word, you're saying words towards an audience, just not to destroy something, but to get a point across or something. It's the only difference.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is kind of one of the flaws, personally, for me with spoken word in general. It can be quite vague. It can be quite wishy-washy. You can spend 30 seconds building a scene if you want, talking about your feelings and how society's crushing you, and it's a metaphor. You know, all that sort of bullshit, basically, that spoken word is rife with. But battling is far more direct. You know, battling has much more of a point to it. It's much more precise. It's much more engaging for me personally. And when you talk about battling being an art form, it's kind of similar to spoken word. It's hitting on all fronts because it's that mixture of the intellect with the physical, you know, with the actual performance capacity. And when a battle is really kicking off, it's both of those things. You know, it's like Unanimous or like Soul, for example. It has, you know, left, right brain kicking, you know, both feet forward.
Yeah, I feel like battle rappers are way overall way more concerned with the audience that's there. I feel like spoken word can be very self-centric, and you could as well just do it in front of a mirror and get the same thing. Nobody in a spoken word event is gonna cheer or groan after you said something that could be perceived as very dope or something. Yeah. Nobody's gonna react.
I mean, I've been to quite a lot of spoken word events in the UK, and I don't know if they're prevalent over there, but we get a lot of clicking. Do you get that over there?
Clicking, yeah, I've seen it. I've seen people do it, like the clicking thing, but I didn't quite get it. But somebody told me it's like a silent way of applauding, so people can see that you're paying attention, but you're not disturbing.
Yeah.
It hasn't got the same feel to it, I feel. Yeah, so the bar that stuck with me ever since I watched that title matches. I'm not sure if he said it in the first or his third, but the bar is you can find out that the road to hell is paved with the best intentions. I really dig that. I like that a lot.
What is it about that?
Because I feel like Soul, he not only is he first implying that Shox is on his way to hell, but it's also like generally it's a very broad statement, because he says that a lot of people going to hell think they're doing the right thing, so they're doing like the wrong thing for what they think is the right reasons. So, and that's why I love that bar. So you can I just mold it over in my head, so you can find out that the road to hell is paved with the best intentions, and it cracks me up every time. Yeah,
I think you see Shox kind of screw facing slightly at that bar when he delivers it. You know, he sees the sort of pertinent elements to it, and you know, I mean, we spoke before about, you know, the kind of inwardness of spoken word, and battling can have that. Battling can have flowery languages. I mean, battling can have flowery rounds. Look at Soul's third in that battle. You know, it was kind of a gamble for him, kind of going off, and I do like those sort of elements. I do like these writing exercise elements. Not everyone has to be magic or lunacy or whatever. You know, sometimes you can kind of dance around the point briefly. But I think unlike spoken word, battling is never getting mired too much in the message. You know, you can do like a 9-minute poem about whatever, but I think, you know, rounds are quite short for the most part. You've got to be quite snappy, and if you are too focused, you'll lose a battle. You know, we want to see you attack your opponent more than anything.
Yeah. So that's indeed I'm stumbling over all my words right now. So what I was trying to say is that indeed, if you don't attack, you're gonna lose, and it's still in a rap battle. You have to win. You have to want to win. That's the objective. It's the main goal, and it's what keeps it entertaining, because every word someone says, every sentence, it matters. Because if it's not good enough, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose face, and that's just the intensity behind that is just something I really like. And it's not the same. What I like about spoken word is like someone can go off on a tantrum and just talk about whatever and just drift away from the point initially thrown up. So it's like more free of style in spoken word. If you depends on how you go about it, but it's more freedom in just choosing subjects.
Oh yeah, for definite. Yeah, you can talk about whatever you want, but if you're battling Shocks the Rebel, you better mention Shocks the Rebel. Like, you know, you gotta get his name in there somewhere. I mean, are there any other battlers you feel have that kind of poetic bent?
Not specifically every battle, but I remember Immaculate versus Big K, his third round, reminded me of Soul's round. It's like it's about a dream, and then imagine what's gonna happen at the actual event, that ending. The whole round was like a sort of sketch of this menacing scene where Big K was waking up in sweat, and just because he got beat in his dream, and then he had to battle that same day, and just Immaculate was just going off and just describing in the very detail how Big K would feel, like the same as Shocks did with as Soul did with the drowning in shame, and he can't figure out if he's been there 10 seconds or 1,000 of days. Very describing, very through a telescope as well.
Yeah. It was very, very, very successful, and it just, you know, it's about writing for me. Battling is about a lot of things for a lot of people. A lot of people like just the performance, the exposure. For me personally, I like the wit in the pen. I like people saying things I haven't heard said before in ways that I've never interpreted before. That's what I enjoy about it, and people are called poetic in battling a lot because, you know, it's the higher form of writing that they're alluding to, and it's successful in that culture, and I want to see more of it. Really, I'm hoping that, like, because Don't Flop, I think, probably has the best writing of any league in terms of, like, when you look at people like Soul, Ogmios, Gemini, Shocks, you know, just the quality is kind of above most of the other contemporaries. Yeah,
it's very writing based indeed. It's less about the showmanship. What I kind of feel like URL is going for that more.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What I wanted to say, you were like, it's mostly about writing for me, but I had a talk with a Dutch battler yesterday, and he told me that he always wears sunglasses in his battles, and that it is really defining for how his lines come across to the audience, because he can look wherever, but the audience will always think that he's looking where his head is tilted. So it's in the little things as well. It's in the performance. It's in everything more around the writing, which comes first, obviously, but then the presentation is a second.
Definitely. And, you know, I'm trying to think of more. There's quite a few spoken word guys that have existed in battling. Like Simon Mole is a guy that only had one battle on Don't Flop, who's a very, very good spoken word poet. Adam the Rapper as well, I know, delves in that. So there is this crossover. You know, there are these people. Shonda Rhimes, of course, as well, who's doing great stuff. Or was doing great stuff on Don't Flop until it imploded. You know, there was this kind of span for it, and I think there'll always be. You know, Don't Flop did a few events, poet versus rapper events. You know, opening the door to these people. So there is this coexistence. You know, between the two, there's this awareness. This was at the Roundhouse in Camden, which was a really good event as well. And you know, I think Don't Flop would be all the good for it. Like, you know, they're open to grime MCs coming on. They're open to the poets coming on. There are all these pantheons of hip hop that are all the more stronger for incorporating each other.
Yeah, and I feel like it has what you just stressed. It has an effect on the whole league because there's very different styles these days. Like when I first discovered Quill, I was shocked because of his performance. It's so good.
Yeah.
Like his battle against Unanimous, I've watched it 3 times now. I feel because it's the way he moves around the stage is so comfortable, and it's not very spoken word like, but I feel like the movement, like a lot of spoken word artists use movement to remember their bars, and I feel like Quill is about that as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Quill, his grace. He's like a ballerina. The way he kind of, you know, he always has his hand on his hip as well, and he's always sort of pirouetting in various forms. So yeah, I think Quill's a good example.
Looks so smooth.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. It's really kind of oily and in the best possible way. And you know, there are some battlers and spoken word poets as well, where you don't know what they're doing with their hands. You know, they're just kind of in the mode, they're in the movement, they're not rehearsed what they've done. They're kind of all over the place. But someone like Quill, it just makes the performance even more, doesn't it? It makes it even more a kind of perceptive whole.
Yeah, it's such it's like a choreography almost.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Yeah, there's but yeah, I mean, spoken word and battling, it is such a fetid ground to explore. So you're doing like a piece, are you, for art school on this, or?
Yeah, so I'm studying at an art school, and I was just annoyed about how many people just wouldn't take battle rap seriously, and if I just some people just are rather elite about their writing, literature wise and
right.
and such, and then battle rap is kind of disregarded. So I just felt like highlighting the art behind all of it.
Yeah, no, it's needed. I think if there was, I mean, this is quite pretentious, really, but if there was like a hardback book of All Souls rounds, I'd love to read that. Like, I just think, you know, the delicacy that he puts in there, the references, it's incredible. You know, the format, a 3-minute battle format, but it's just the expansive nature where these writers have taken it. It always excites me, and I think you know you've got good grounds for that, really. And battle rap, of course, is an art to a massive extent. The amount of rehearsal, the amount of time that goes into it, not let alone the creative energies. So, you know, what is this gonna be like an essay you're doing, or?
It's going to be trying to make it into an article made up out of different interviews like this one. And then I'm gonna put it together and make it very neat. But I have yet to think of a perfect format.
Right, yeah, interesting. Well, I mean, obviously, we will share it at Battlerapresume, and you know, we can sort of open up a bit more of something a bit more highfalutin, which is always good for a podcast. Do you have any writings online, Tim? Anything to share, or?
Now, of course, I write mostly in Dutch.
Of course.
So I feel like most of the audience wouldn't get it or really understand it. But I do have a Twitter account, and if someone would like to follow me, just chat with me about battle rap or anything really. I'm open, and I'd love that.
And what is the handle?
The handle is. I'm gonna spell it out. So because it's a Dutch word, but it's LASTPAKKERIG.
I'll put the link in the description as well to save people who may be a bit more difficult to obtain that. But this has been interesting, man. Is there anything else? Any YouTube you'd like to share? Any other projects you've got online, or?
Yeah, I've got a. I'm not sure if someone's gonna find this, but if you look on YouTube and you type in TBGW, and then CW Vlogs. You get a video we made as a kind of as a joke to be like to make a joke out of really weird film projects. If someone's interested, it's pretty funny, I feel.
Okay, cool, man, cool. Yeah, no, this has been enlightening. I mean, please comment below. What do you think about the relationship between spoken word and battling? It'd be interesting to start a dialogue there as well. Please subscribe to the show. We've got the Patreon, we've got the iTunes. We've got all the stuff that you always hear me fucking talk about. But Tim, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me on, man.
Of course.